Chrisley Knows best star Chase Chrisley treats his little brother, Grayson, as a servant at his new job. In an entertaining clip from Chrisley Knows Best, fans learn about a Chrisley rite of passage. Keep reading to find out more about what's going on between these Chrisley siblings. Chrisley Knows Best shares a clip from a recent episode. The clip begins with Chase Chrisley and Elliot Kennedy lounging by the pool. Then, the camera pans to show Chase's little brother, Grayson, tending to some other pool guests. Elliot points out that he loves seeing Grayson make that summer money. He also says that he's going to have Todd, Chrisley's youngest son, bring him an ice-cold lemonade. Then Chase explains that summer jobs are a rite of passage in the Chrisley family. He shares that Dad gets you a summer job and teaches you the value of hard work. Savannah Chrisley laughs at her big brother. She wants to know Chase's first job taught him. The answer is simple. Chase says, "I think it taught me that never take a job that Dad lines up for you because it's never going to be enjoyable." Back at the pool, Grayson Chrisley stops to chat with some of his friends. They want to know what time he gets off work. The youngest Chrisley son gives a responsible answer. He lets his friends know that he normally gets off at 5, but they're busy today. His friends invite him over, but it seems like Gray doesn't know if he's going to be able to make it or not. After that, Chase and Elliot call over to Grayson and all, but demand that he bring them lemonades. However, Grayson is a good sport as he looks over to the duo with a smile on his face. Grayson walks up to Chase and Elliot, and viewers learn how he truly feels about his summer job. From the sounds of it, this gig isn't what he thought it was going to be. Grayson seems upset that his friends are there and he's not able to hang out with them. Chase Chrisley tries to offer up some support. He reminds his brother that he's working so he can stack up some money, but a frustrated Grayson says, "I'm working so much I don't have time to spend the money." What do you think about how Chase and Elliot treated Grayson at his job? What was your first job? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Make sure to come back to TV shows Ace for more Chrisley Knows Best news. Don't forget that Chrisley Knows Best airs at a new time. Tune into USA Network on Thursday nights at 8:30/7:30 for a new episode. When the cameras stopped rolling on Chrisley Knows Best, the real drama quietly simmered in the background, far from the curated chaos of reality TV. Without Todd and Julie at the helm of the family's lavish lifestyle, the spotlight shifted naturally to Chase Chrisley. Ever eager to remain center stage, Chase took on a new venture, one that would redefine sibling dynamics in the Chrisley clan. In a surprising pivot, Chase launched a luxury car concierge service in Nashville. The brand was dripping in pretension, complete with a website full of gloss, vague descriptions about exclusive clientele, and lots of buzzwords about experience, legacy, and automotive excellence. But under all that polish was a simple operation: sourcing, detailing, and delivering high-end vehicles for rich people too busy, or too lazy, to pick up their own Maseratis. Chase saw himself as a visionary entrepreneur. He'd wear expensive sunglasses indoors and make grand gestures with his phone while walking through the garage. His staff was a rotating group of part-time influencers, mechanics who moonlighted as rappers, and, most significantly, his younger brother Grayson. Grayson, now edging into adulthood, had quietly taken a job with Chase, perhaps out of loyalty or boredom, or maybe just the mistaken belief that working with family wouldn't be a nightmare. What began as an offer to help out quickly evolved into a full-time grind that bore an unsettling resemblance to servitude. Chase referred to Grayson's title as Junior Director of Operations, but in practice, it was a role heavy on the operations and light on the director. Grayson became the go-to guy for everything: hauling tires, washing interiors with toothbrushes, chauffeuring picky clients, and, most humiliating of all, fetching Chase's protein smoothies 3 times a day. With exacting specifications and zero gratitude, each morning, Grayson arrived before sunrise to sweep the garage floors that would be scuffed moments later by Chase's designer loafers. He'd organize the keys, line up vehicles according to their delivery schedule, and field phone calls Chase never answered. While Chase arrived around noon, snapping selfies with a mug of cold brew and making sure the lighting hit his jawline just right, Grayson would already be deep into his second oil change. Grayson had become the backstage crew to Chase's frontman performance. He was the ghost who prepped the cars, cleaned the glass for test drives. Yet when clients arrived, Chase swooped in like a CEO, making a surprise appearance, throwing around automotive jargon he barely understood, and taking credit for every spotless rim and seamless engine purr. Behind the scenes, the tension simmered. Grayson, ever stoic, rarely complained, but there was a look in his eyes, a mixture of exhaustion and quiet disbelief. He seemed to navigate his days like someone trapped in a surrealist painting, where logic and hierarchy had no place, and the older brother who once helped him with homework now barked orders as if he were royalty. At lunchtime, Chase lounged in his executive nook, an artificially curated space featuring a beanbag chair that cost more than most people's rent. He dined on overpriced sushi and dictated Instagram captions to his assistant while Grayson scarfed down cold leftovers between test drives. If something went wrong, a tire unpolished, a customer less than impressed, it was always Grayson's fault. Chase never missed a beat in shifting the blame. To outsiders, it might have seemed like harmless sibling bickering, but those who worked nearby saw it differently. Mechanics whispered about the Cinderella shift that Grayson pulled daily, often clocking out long after Chase had gone home. The term stuck, and eventually even the customers started to notice. There were the silent moments that gave it away. A side glance from Grayson when Chase called him to wipe bird droppings off a windshield during a rainstorm, or the resigned pause before he responded to yet another errand that fell far outside the bounds of operations. He had started keeping notes, jotting down tasks in a spiral notebook, as if documenting each indignity for some distant day of reckoning. The irony was thick. Chase, who had coasted on charm and charisma for most of his adult life, fancied himself a hardworking entrepreneur, while the actual grunt work was done by his younger brother. But in Chase's mind, success was about branding, about the illusion of control. Grayson, he reasoned, should feel honored to be part of the empire. Chase's idea of leadership was more theater than management. He'd hold spontaneous staff meetings that were little more than monologues about hustle culture, punctuated by motivational quotes copied from Twitter. Grayson, standing in the corner with grease on his sleeves and tired eyes, would nod politely while secretly counting the minutes he'd spent that morning unclogging a vending machine that Chase insisted on importing from Tokyo. By the time summer hit, the imbalance had reached new heights. Chase expanded the business, promising celebrity partnerships and new locations in Miami and LA, though none of these ventures materialized beyond Instagram mock-ups. Meanwhile, Grayson was tasked with managing client databases, installing shelving, and once even playing stand-in valet at a socialite's birthday party when the hired driver quit. As the buzz around the business grew, media outlets started poking around. A local lifestyle magazine scheduled an interview with Chase, and the crew arrived to find him mid-photo shoot in front of a Porsche he didn't own. Grayson had just finished detailing that car in 90-degree heat, but was promptly shooed out of frame. He lingered at the edge, holding a rag and trying not to look annoyed. When asked about his team, Chase waxed poetic about vision and synergy, throwing out vague references to a strong foundation, never once mentioning Grayson's name. The interviewer caught Grayson later in the corner, wiping smudges from a window with the meticulous focus of someone who had stopped expecting recognition. At home, their dynamic wasn't much better. Family dinners turned into one-man showcases where Chase regaled relatives with tales of million-dollar deals and celebrity clients who may or may not exist. Grayson, seated at the far end of the table, merely picked at his food, nodding occasionally, as if waiting for the universe to catch up and hand him a raise, or at least a day off. Eventually, word began to spread. An anonymous post surfaced on a gossip forum titled Chase Chrisley's Slave Labor Brother. It described Grayson's invisible role at the company and detailed several instances where Chase left him to handle disasters alone, including one particularly chaotic day involving a flaming Lamborghini and a very angry country singer. The post went viral for a weekend before being drowned out by celebrity breakup news, but the damage lingered. In private, Grayson started to shift. He stopped answering calls on the first ring. He refused to pick up Chase's dry cleaning. Small rebellions at first, but they added up. He began setting boundaries, showing up late, taking full lunch breaks. Chase, oblivious as ever, called it a phase, convinced his brother would bounce back to servitude soon enough.